Welcome to the Reticle Up podcast, where I, 3-Gun Kenzie, will be interviewing competitive shooters, hunters, fishermen, archers, entrepreneurs, and outdoorsmen. Come learn with me as I interview people from all walks of life, in different disciplines, all across the world, from novices to professionals of all ages. No matter what, everyone has something they can teach you, so come join me on the journey. Hey, all you listeners, I'm here joined by my friend Tyler Denahan. He is a firearms enthusiast, and we're going to call him a casual competitor. So we got a different perspective on the show today. Tyler, how are you doing?
Doing good. I'm happy to be here. Excited to talk guns. There's really nothing more fun than talking guns or sports. So
yeah, or trucks. We should add some trucks.
That's true. We do have the same truck. I mean, yours is nicer and cleaner, but we have the same one.
Oh, thanks. No. That's just got his own character as well. So we met, was that 2019?
It was either January-ish of 2019 or late 2018. Not exactly sure.
I can't remember either. So we met and you dabbled in 3-Gun. Was that your first competition or no?
I'd have to go back and look at practice score to see if it was actually the first one or if it was the second one, but it was definitely the first 3-gun.
Oh yeah, so you decided to go really early into 3-gun and you weren't like overwhelmed.
No, well, so it's kind of funny because the guy who had invited me to it, I have a friend who I grew up with and then a friend who I met at Florida State. And Brian Keller actually from the Florida State Shooting Club.
Yep.
But he was like, this is one of the craziest places to go. They're going to have shotguns set up. There'll be rifles out there. It's just going to be a blast. Like, we got to do it. And so $100 to go have fun for the day, I'm in.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was great. I got 4 of y'all to come over. Glutton for punishment, or 5, something ridiculous. That was a fun time though.
Yeah. That was probably one of the most fun days I've had at the range.
That's really cute. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I want to do you on the podcast specifically to share different perspectives. I feel like I haven't had a lot of people that just shoot for fun. That's a big thing. You and I both moved away from Talon Range. Now you're back. So that's not fair. So let's take it all the way back. Did you grow up around firearms, or when did you first get into guns?
So my mom is openly against firearms. My dad, he could take them or leave them, more or less. If somebody's doing something, he'll go check it out. But he's not going after the range or anything like that. He grew up, I'll say, on a farm setting, but it's not like a real working farm or anything like that. So he was around guns growing up as a kid.
Okay. And
but in the household, certainly no guns growing up. And I'm just an American boy, love trucks and guns, just it's part of nature. So, I think actually it might've been maybe my 19th birthday or something. I was like, it's time for me to buy a gun. And I went to, I don't even think the store is open anymore. I think it was called Tallahassee Gun and Pawn.
I know where that's at. It's on Capitol Circle Drive right before the interstate.
Maybe. I don't know. I might be thinking of a different place, but the place that I'm thinking of, I don't believe is still open. And they moved over to the Publix on Lake Ella, but they're not there anymore.
Oh.
But so I bought a lever action Henry 22 and I was like, this gun is awesome.
Bougie.
Yeah, I don't know about bougie, but fun.
Oh, they're nice.
They're fun. And I brought it over to my sister's house and we're shooting it in the backyard. And her husband was like, this thing is so cool. And he had never shot a lever action before. And after that, it was just, I'm down the path,
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that you could shoot those in Steel Challenge either.
I have never seen one in Steel Challenge.
Oh, I have. I've seen the Cowboy division. So yeah, you can shoot. Technically, you can shoot. There's a revolver division, but you can shoot that as a 22 caliber. So yeah,
I'm sure people can do that pretty quick.
Yes,
you shoot Cowboy, right? So that's lever action.
Yeah, they have side stages at all the major matches, and I don't know why, but I decided to go shoot 10 shots, 2 per target, and it was set up like a dice. And you had to time yourself. So your hand's on the timer, you let go, it goes off, you grab the gun, and you lever action. So I won overall, fastest speed shoot on a lever action on these targets. And I had a little plaque to show for it.
That is awesome.
They're fun guns, though. That was a 38 special, though.
Yeah, no, this is just your standard Henry 22, just like the least expensive one they sell.
No, I like it. So when you spiraled. You got addicted. What was next?
Yeah, so, I wasn't 21 years old when I first started shooting, so I couldn't buy a handgun. And I didn't have anybody in my family who really owned them that I could shoot with. I did have a couple friends who had them, but, I still think you have to be 21 to buy ammo. So that's kind of a pain, asking somebody, hey, let's go to the store and then we'll go shoot your gun. And you have to meet me at the range. So I just stuck to 22 rifles and shotguns for a while because I guess now that I'm thinking about it, a 12 gauge was actually the first gun that I got.
Okay.
I think my dad bought it for me when I was 12 or 13. But I didn't get that until after I had my 22 because my dad just had it at his house. And so then we were throwing clays with a group of buddies out at the, don't tell anybody about this, the public range where it's definitely not allowed.
Yeah.
But that was a good time just because you have a moving target and there's a little bit of operator error on throwing the clays by hand.
Did you have the thingy?
Yeah, the little red thing.
Yeah. I don't actually know what they call it. I'll just say a thrower, but yeah, it's really fun to try that. So your next task, Tyler, is to go to the range, hold your shotgun in your left hand or your non-dominant hand, throw the clay, shoulder it, and shoot it. Because I've had to do that in several matches to start off the stage.
So is that one clay, two clays? How crazy is this getting?
So we've done one, and then there's a masochist range master, Bruce Davidson, who would make you throw two, or you'd have to go from barrel to barrel, throw one, shoot it, throw another. We're like, it's a cluster, but if you do one, I'll be impressed. Start there.
All right, so hold in my offhand, throw.
And throw, shoot, yeah.
Okay, it actually seems like it would be harder to throw with your offhand.
Well, you have to put your shotgun in your offhand. They make you do that. That was at least for that stage brief. You could do right hand, and throw with your left and do it.
Yeah, I think it'd be harder because if you're holding with your main hand, then you have to reposition the whole shotgun too.
It's so bad, Tyler. We had people tossing the clays straight behind them and they're on the clock. If you toss it behind you and you shoot at it, you're DQ'd, because you can't do that. So they would toss it and the RO was just like, you're on time. You got to go. That's a miss.
Yeah. No, my two rules are don't get DQ'd and don't come in last.
Yeah, it's going to happen, by the way, on the DQ. Just prepare.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I've come close. Yeah.
Do what?
I've come close a couple times. Definitely come close.
Yeah. No, it's not a matter of if, it's when. So just if you shoot long enough, yeah. That's good.
No, I believe it. But yeah, so I definitely didn't grow up with a background. I was just one of those things that I was interested in getting into. And once you have a job and you can afford it and you're old enough to actually purchase the things, it's a lot easier to go down the rabbit hole.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So did you ever find the FSU shooting team or no?
No, so I had graduated by the time that I found out about that. And our friend Brian, he had access to like the FSU steel. So we used that a couple times and set up stages and all that fun stuff.
That's cool.
But yeah, no, you caught me very early on where I had no idea what was going on.
I love those days.
I think I bought my mag pouches like the day before the event. And I was like, wait, what?
Love it. I love it. Yeah, the range that we're talking about in Tallahassee, Talon Range, if you're ever in North Florida or the Panhandle, that is a great range to go to. Yeah, they've got skeet and trap and full courses for that. They've got 400-yard range now. They put on Cowboy, Steel Challenge, USPSA. They don't do much 3-gunning anymore.
No, but they do. I'll give them the plug they have the sporting clays too. They have a whole course for that as well.
Yeah.
I haven't done it, but I know it's out there.
Yeah, they do a lot. And then I don't know another range that has as much steel as they do. Like when you get to shoot plate racks and all of that and even have a dedicated 22A. I know I'm digressing, but I want people to know that range, that changed my life. That got me into shooting. I don't think another range out there would have been able to do it because I've seen the ranges,
Yeah, no, specifically in the state of Florida, I have seen nothing like that. And you're far more traveled than I am in terms of ranges, but I have not come close to seeing anybody who does have steel set up just for the everyday person who comes out there like that.
Yeah. And they don't have to pay extra. They don't have to rent targets. They don't set them up. It's wild. So that's pretty cool. Did you take your concealed carry class from them?
No, I did it on my 21st birthday, or maybe even before my 21st birthday, and maybe I sent in the paperwork on my 21st birthday. But I did it at the Tallahassee indoor range, which is not that far down the road.
Oliver Long, right?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, he shoots competitively at USPSA and helps run the matches a little bit. He did the Glock matches past year. Anyways, he was my teacher at the indoor range and taught me my permit as well. So I didn't know about Talon either. So that's what I did.
Yeah. And this was before I knew talent existed.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I had no idea. So that's cool. So you took the class, and like, you're like me. I don't know anybody else actually that like was dedicated to being 21 years old and wanting their permit. Like, I think I turned 21 during the week, and I was in the weekend right then taking the class, you know?
Yeah, no, I took the class before my 21st birthday and turned in the paperwork on my 21st birthday.
Ooh, you felt fancy.
I was happy about it. And the picture on it, I mean, you could tell that I was definitely a college kid. I think I had like hair from the night before and a sweatshirt. It must have been, I don't know, cold that morning or something.
I love it. I love it. So when you were getting your permit, or you got your permit, say, what was the biggest change that you made or felt, when you began carrying concealed?
So I certainly didn't carry concealed, day one, because whether you believe it or not, I mean, there's a substantial responsibility that comes along with it. And I didn't necessarily know that I was ready for that responsibility, but I knew that I wanted to have access to it if I needed to.
Yep. Yeah, that's good.
So it took me probably close to a year before I was carrying on a regular basis. And I probably eliminated going to bars altogether. Like, I just didn't go around them. And so that was an easy way to make sure that I was putting myself in good situations. And then I still really don't go to bars very often, but other than that, it's just nice being able to have access to your firearm when you might need it.
Oh, 100%. You'll be jealous of this one. I don't know why, but it's great. Tennessee, you can carry in a bar, you just can't drink, which I'm good with. So like, when clients want to go and people want to go, I'm just not going to drink. They're like, hey, you want to drink? I'm like, mm-mm. They have no idea because they don't know my background. I'm like, mm-mm, but I like it. Yeah.
That is a pretty neat way to handle that.
Yeah, I like those rules.
But the culture in Tennessee is a little bit different as well. I would say, different is probably a good way to put it.
Yeah. Florida's crazy, man. Crazy Florida, man. So how many holsters did you go through before you found one, by the way?
So like I said, I'm not big on the practice part of shooting. I just like to go out there and have fun. And like, so I shot my Glock. That was the first pistol that I bought. Shot my Glock. I'm going to say less than 2,000 rounds through this gun. And I've had it for 6 years.
Yeah.
But I've had 3 holsters for that gun. The first one was not like a competition style holster. It was mostly just inside the waistband, held a light on it, that kind of deal. Yeah. The second one was leather. I don't know what was going on there. And then the third one I bought from T-Rex Arms, and I put a decent amount of work through that, and it holds up nicely and it stays in place when I tighten it down.
That's pretty cool. So are you running like oh gosh, I can't remember the name, but they have the sidecar, and it's the
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. So I have a Ragnarok for my Glock, and I ordered a Ragnarok for my Shadow 2. I just have been super lazy on getting a holster because not that I can't afford ammo. I just am too frugal to buy ammo right now. So.
No, it's awesome. Yeah. T-Rex makes a good product.
Yeah. And then I'm in the insurance industry, and I happen to represent a client who manufactures holsters. And so for my everyday carry, I've got a different brand, but it gets the job done, and I've never had any screws fall out or anything like that. The first carry holster that I ever bought was for a Glock 43, and I think I had like a dozen screws back out over less than a year. I was like, this thing's garbage.
Yeah.
I still have the holster if somebody needs it, but
don't sell them that. That's garbage.
I didn't say I would sell it to them. Oh, it just can't hold screws. So I guess that's what Loctite's for.
Oh my gosh. I remember I'm the dum-dum that I think I bought a sticky holster at one point. I have a belly band. But none of my carry holsters, because I remember researching a lot, and I think I try everything that's out there on the market, stayed in place. And you need to Loctite your stuff. Once you get it set up to you, angled to you, whatever, Loctite it, check it. Oh my God, that's huge. So many people don't check their gear, whether it's competition or not. Like, it's important.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. My screws were backing out. I didn't put Loctite on them, so didn't know that.
Yeah. For those, use red. You never want them to come out again. For us, we use blue.
Yeah.
Awesome. So did your mindset change, or your clothing, or situational awareness? Like, what changed?
Yeah, so clothing 100% instantly changed. I used to wear a lot of tank tops, and maybe that was just being a young guy thing.
Volleyball.
Yeah, exactly, volleyball. So I almost never wear tank tops anymore, just because they don't offer the room that I need. situational awareness, I like to think that I was always aware of what was going on, but it definitely makes you more aware of what you're doing, who you're surrounding yourself with, any potential situations that might arise out of, having access to a firearm.
Yeah, 100%. It's interesting that a guy changed his entire wardrobe. I don't get many of those. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, so we just moved again.
Yeah.
Like I have a box with my tank tops. It's just at the top of my closet. I'm not wearing those things.
That's awesome. Okay, I
Yeah.
gotta know, did you convert your mother?
Oh, no, there's no hope. No, there's no hope. And I mean, I'll have guns in her house every now and then, and I don't tell her about it.
Yeah, no, yeah. My mom is not anti-gun, but it blows my mind. Like my dad, my brother, me, we all have firearms, right? And like she's got grandbabies. I'm like, you've got grandbabies. I'm not worried about you. If you can't do it for yourself, I bet you could do it for your grandbabies, you know?
Yeah, no, it runs a whole gamut trying to convince somebody or sell them on your ideas. And, if she's not interested in learning, maybe it's better for her grandkids if she doesn't have access to them.
Sure.
It could go both ways.
Absolutely.
Because like my wife is not a big fan of guns. And I want her to at least know how to use the guns that we have in the house. But her response is, if I don't know how to use them and I go to use them, it's going to be worse. So
Not wrong.
she either needs to learn how to do it or stay away from them, which is fine.
Yeah, that's true. Well, point, shoot, pull the trigger, figure it out.
Yeah, if only it was that simple, we'd all be, Ben Stokers and everything.
Gosh, yeah, it's overwhelming. And then you got to find one that works for you. So that's interesting. The family thing for sure I get. As far as like holster placement, like did you do appendix carry or 3 o'clock, or like what worked for you? What'd you try out?
So I don't know where I got the idea that I would carry like in the small of my back, but I tried that out for a little while. Not a fan. 3 o'clock or 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock with my body and my clothing, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much exclusively appendix.
Yeah. Most skinny guys are.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. And maybe in the winter when it's cold in Tallahassee, I can get away with wearing a jacket and put it somewhere else.
Did you even move to get winter experience?
So we lived in Michigan for 364 days, 1 day short of a year. And we had what I would call a pretty mild winter, but I liked it. It was pretty nice. And it made it much easier to carry.
Yeah. Okay, so the biggest thing when you change seasons, and maybe you do this, maybe you don't, I'm just asking, do you switch out capacity? So like have a larger caliber gun? No.
Nope, I keep the same gun the whole time.
That's good though. So there's 2 things to that. Keep the same gun because you know it, you've practiced it, you shot it, it works, right? I know people are like, oh, I switch up to a bigger capacity. I'm like, that's awesome because that does help when you have jackets and all that. But if you don't practice, that's a completely different draw, completely different gun, completely different ammo, how it shoots. So people listening, make sure you practice with whatever it is. And if you change anything, because if you're training one way and then you've changed something to go to appendix, like your instinct's going to go backwards rather than, going in front. So. Yeah,
I mean, that's the whole name of the game with anything that you want to be good at, or at least proficient, is the training.
Yeah, 100%. So did you take any classes after that, after the concealed carry class?
So the classes are number one on my priority for the coming year. Is I want to take, I don't know if I need to take 2 classes, but I definitely want to take 1 class just because I don't necessarily know that I need direction, but I need, encouragement and pointing out of what I'm doing wrong versus what I'm doing right. Like I know how to pull a gun out of a holster. It may not be 100% correct. I know how to put the dot on the target. It may not be 100% correct, but I need the little tips here and there. And hey, change the way to tilt to your shoulder, your foot placement, that stuff.
You're so humble, Tyler. Like I already knew that. You're just like so coachable. You're like, I don't know if I'm doing right, but I'm open to this. Like that's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, like these are people who shoot every day. I don't shoot every day. And I put a monthly expense for shooting, but I almost never meet my monthly expense to get out to the range and use it and everything.
Tyler. Okay. So if you do, Avery's a really good trainer at Talon Range. Actually, Michael Barano, and he does not think he is. Have you met Michael? They're like range director, whatever, dude. Short dude.
I'll tell you the amount of communication that I have with people at Talent is so limited. It's check me in. Can I borrow your timer without paying for it? And that's it.
Okay. Well, next time, Michael's my buddy. He'll send me a text. He's really good. He practices like every single day at the range. He was military, but he's one of those people that took it seriously. So every single day he's posting videos, he's working on his draws, he's working on retreating while shooting, like getting it out of the holster and past the clothing. So yeah, I think working with someone like that will be helpful for sure.
Yeah, no, and I have some family members who are, I'll just say, wealthy, and so they have access to some ridiculous opportunities. And so they had trained with like the Blackwater Group, which is a overseas, U.S. funded military group. And it's like they have defensive driving, they have home invasions, they've got all this cool stuff that they don't even care about. They just did it because it was a business partner of theirs who was like, hey, we'll do this training for you. It's like, what?
You have a brother that I can like marry?
Oh, you don't want my brothers. They're horrible. They're horrible. That's not true. My oldest brother's,
Podcast, yeah.
my oldest brother's fine, but the rest questionable at best.
That's horrible. That's awesome. Oh man. Okay, so yeah, training's on your list. That's good. Okay, so you don't remember your first competition itch, whichever it was, but you've now shot Steel Challenge, USPSA 3-gun. Have you done IDPA?
I haven't done IDPA, but the one that's actually been my favorite is 2-gun. And there's this little club, and I'll call it little. I'm not sure what's a little club versus a big club, but they're called AXE 2-gun. It's American Confederation of Tactical Shooters. And so these guys are based, I think it's called Bellevue, Michigan. And they set up 5 stages every month, regardless of what the weather is. And they're out there shooting 2-gun. And they have a rimfire division, they have a service division, an enhanced and an open division. So service is your iron sights on both your sidearm and your rifle. Enhanced is you're allowed to have one optic.
Typical on the rifle, yeah.
And then open is you have both optics, yeah.
Yeah, cool. What'd you shoot?
So I shot rimfire because I've been super cheap in pandemic, right?
Perfect.
And
training.
Yeah, absolutely. But there were 2 people out at every match who shot rimfire. It was me and one other guy.
Did you win though?
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
I mean, you got to win. I said you can't come in last.
Yep.
But the first time I went out there, it was similar to when we shot over in, I think it was Defuniak Springs, in the Panhandle.
Yeah.
Where they had these ridiculous obstacles set up. And like really the whole time I'm there, I'm just trying not to shoot myself because so many of these positions are you're going back up the range or you're picking up an object or just something that gives you the potential to flag yourself or somebody else. And so safety being the biggest thing, it's just trying not to overrun your eyes.
Yeah. You didn't hear about any of the DQs at that match, did you?
The one that we shot?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know anybody got DQ'd.
Oh, my best friend here. No, my buddy Scott. He went to get the Skedco dummy, and yeah, sure enough, his holster didn't have the hood. Pistol came out, and not only that, is he ran over the pistol with the Skedco, so he had sand and dirt and clay, and I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm telling you, it's not a matter of if, it's when. So.
Yeah. So that was on the stage where they had like the Jeep with the dummy, and you had to pull the dummy around it.
Yeah, and like it just went straight over the gun. Yeah, there's a lot of obstacles. Those are fun and not fun at the same time.
Yeah, the more that I listen to other, I'll say professional shooters, the more I listen to them, it sounds like they don't like the obstacles. They like to just shoot.
I mean, I like both, but at the same time, if they're not doable for me, I guess, then it's not really that fun. And then I fall. So like last time we had that, I had like 2 5-gallon water jugs. I'm trying to carry those with a gun, strapped and everything. And then of course I fall down like I normally do.
Yeah, no, it's a challenge for sure. I mean, running around with a gun is no joke. Credit to people who can do it well.
Like you go to the tactical games. I mean, that's what tactical games, or there's like run and gun series too. Have you heard about those?
No. That's
like if you like to run, which you probably do. I feel like you do.
I don't like to run, but I like to run at gun competitions because it's an advantage.
It really is. Like, okay, guys, he's like 90 pounds and like 6 foot something, but yeah, you would do really well.
Yeah, no, there are for sure stages where I'm like, yes, the old guy is going to have a heart attack. I'm good.
I love it. Man. Okay. So going back to concealed carry, I have 2 more questions on that. For carrying concealed, what was like the biggest challenge for you, like overall, out of all of it?
So I hadn't shot my carry gun a lot. So putting in the work of getting used to a carry gun versus a full-size pistol was a lot. And then just actually concealing versus printing on everything was a big challenge.
Yeah, I feel like that, especially in Florida, it's so hot, so hard.
Yeah, no, and every now and then, my wife would be like, what is that? I'm like, yes, you didn't know it was there.
Yeah. When? So do you actually look around at people's like waistbands or whatever and try and spot other people's firearms? Like, do you do that?
Oh, every chance. No, everybody's always checking out everything. You always got to have your eyes open.
Yeah, same thing. I'm like, who's my friend? Who's my enemy? And do they look competent?
Yeah, I guess I've been leaving that part out.
There you go. Look competent. Oh man. Okay, so yeah, the competition was fun. How did you actually find out about competitive shooting? Like, did you go with a friend? Did someone get you into it, or did you just sign up for a match and go by yourself?
So I would have never known what practice score was, or even that some of these competitions existed without Brian Keller, because he had dragged me out to the first one, whether it was the 3-gun or the Endless Summer Blast in Alabama.
That is the best match in the entire world. And did you get in this year?
So I didn't do it this year because I was in Michigan. Because I think it's like in October. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't miss it. I've gone every single Endless Summer Blast. So I'm shooting. If there's ever a spot open, you sign up, you need to go. We're going to be there. I don't want any excuses. We'll figure it out.
Well, so then I shot that one with you. That was probably the first one that I was at the same place, even though we're in different squads.
Yeah, probably. I think different squad. That is a fun match. So,
yeah, no, so that was the first one that I think I ever went to. If it was in October, I can confirm that. Yep. Because same guy, Brian, was like, hey, they give out prizes to everybody. It doesn't matter how you finish.
Yep.
And I ended up winning, I don't know, I think 308 bullets. And I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do with these? Put them on tax swap. They're gone within a day. I got my, my entry fee back, and I gave my buddy who drove some money for gas. I was like, this is solid.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you pick off a prize table or random draw. I swear to God, another man's trash is another man's treasure or whatever. One man, yeah. So that's what's cool about the community. And Tax Swap, are they still around, that website?
Oh, I use Tax Swap a lot. That's pretty much where I go. And people, I don't know, it seems like everybody wants new prices for everything. But every now and then you'll find somebody who's actually looking at used prices for used gear. And that's where I try out new stuff or get people's opinion on why they're selling it, all that kind of stuff.
I love it. That's actually a really good thing that we talked about that I brought that up. So like for new shooters wanting to get into, you don't have to have the fanciest gear, the newest gear, the best gear. Shoot, my Dano defense rifle was used gun. The 2011 that I have was a used gun. Like I'm trying to think of all the guns that they're used, they're great, right? So like you don't have to go out and spend full price.
Yeah, well, and I do like the idea of buying something basic and testing it and breaking it and seeing what you like and don't like about it. But when it comes to guns, I mean, you can get a used gun that's going to do the job you need it to do.
Yeah. You mean you want to hand your gun to me for testing?
I mean, it's not even broken in yet, but you could do it.
Have you seen how many guns I break?
Oh yeah, it seems like every week you're like, another one.
I was telling somebody yesterday, I was like, listen, if you want to actually see if your gun works, just send me one. I'll tell you. Yeah.
I don't know if we're supposed to be calling out manufacturers or whatever here, but I'll keep the names out of it.
I can't. Oh man. Okay, so for competition too, we'll talk about Endless Summer Blast then. So one gun, right? Pistol. How did it go? Like how? Okay. Actually,
oh my goodness.
Expectations. I want to know what you thought going into it before you shot it, how it went, and then what you felt or thought about it afterwards.
All right. So expectation going into it, literally no clue, because I've never Googled what a USPSA match is. I've never seen one. I don't know. I had zero expectation. My mind was blown. We got to the first stage, and there was, it's not a swinger, but you have to shoot a target to initiate it, and then it goes up and it unveils another target. It's like the clamshell or something.
The clamshell. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I was like, what? Do you expect me to shoot that? And there was maybe a 5-inch opening with a brown paper target behind it. And the first guy on our squad blazes through this thing. I was like, okay, I just point and shoot at it. Done deal. I don't know if I don't remember if I hit that one or not, but holy smokes, my mind was blown about what the opportunities and scenarios you could create with a USPSA match.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's Drew Coleman for you too for this year. He's been part of that for a long time in Dan's range. And yeah, Dan and him come up with some crazy stage plans. But that's where you learn a lot. So like, if you think about Tallahassee, and I'm not hitting on them because I haven't been there in a while, but I don't think we had as many swingers. I had never seen a clamshell before. Like Dothan has all those props, and you see those at, well, you wouldn't know this, but you do go see those at major matches where we have swingers and poppers that activate them, and drop turners, which I don't know if you've seen those. Yeah, those are fun. And like,
yeah, so the match that I shoot in Michigan, they've got all the props, and they've got some people who are part of the club who can manufacture the props and everything. So it's pretty neat, all the stuff they've got as well.
Yeah, dude, that's what you need. You need a club with all of the things because you need to prepare for that.
Yeah. Yeah. But so my expectation is non-existent because I have no idea what I've gotten into. I remember being told that the round count was, I think, 225 rounds, but to bring at least 100 extra. And I think I bummed 100 off of somebody else when I was there.
Aww.
So I doubled the round count at least.
Okay.
Yeah. But I shot it. I didn't get DQ'd. I had a blast. I still have some of those videos on my phone with some of my buddies. Like, we had a phenomenal time. So afterwards, then I'm thinking, holy shit, this is what everything is like. And I've got to do one of these. I don't know. I set a silly expectation of probably one a year. And now that I'm into it, I think probably closer to 5 or 6 a year.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, the Endless Summer Blast, people, I'm telling you, buy it. If you're still in Tallahassee, hopefully 2022, sign up early and get on the squad.
Yeah, no, and you met my friend Cliff, but he's probably the person who I talk to the most about shooting outside of you. And I'll have him come up to Tallahassee and we'll go do it because it'll be a blast.
Where did he move to?
So he left. We grew up in the same neighborhood in South Florida, and he bought a house in the same neighborhood as our parents.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But he and his dad are like best friends. I mean, they work on their trucks together. They have a family business, all that stuff.
Cute. Okay. Yeah. So you roll up into Funiac Springs. We hadn't met. I knew Brian from the shooting team because we're there together. But yeah. And then I see a student in Tacoma and I was like, Tacoma, taco people, best friends. So,
yeah. Yep. They conned me into driving that morning. Maybe I was the only one who was awake.
That's true. It was really early. And you guys had to leave earlier? No, you gained an hour. Hello.
Yeah, we gained an hour. And I don't know if I looked at the weather, but it was cold that morning over there. And I had on shorts and a t-shirt. And I was like, okay, this is fun. And the ground was a little wet. But it ended up drying up. Yeah, so pull up in the Tacoma. And then I don't know if Brian said something about, oh, that's Kenzie, but you had the Thad Castle thing on there. I was like, oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Who is this person?
Well, and that was probably around the time that I had actually watched Blue Mountain State, which made it that much better.
Good. Yeah. Like people that look at it, they're like, is that Tom Brady? It's like, not even close. It says Thad, but yeah, if you don't know the show, it just makes it better. So yeah, trying to think what else. Yeah, the morning of the match is always interesting. And that time, I think it's January, February, something cold.
Yeah.
But I remember us, we had that group picture. We're all in sweaters and beanies and like cold gear. And by the end of it, we're stripped down to, yeah.
Yeah. There was one stage there talking about running that was like, you jump up on railroad ties, grab a shotgun, shoot. And then after you ditch the shotgun was just basically sprinting until you get to another set of railroad ties and your heart is like jumping out of your chest and you're like bouncing around trying to shoot stuff. Yeah.
A lot of fun. Yeah. Then we had the offhand rifle, or not offhand. We actually had weak side rifle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. So what did you learn about yourself maybe shooting these matches?
Oh man, probably nothing about myself other than I like to shoot. Yeah, no, I don't know. It doesn't get me scared of anything. It's just like, dang, that's a challenge. Like there are people out there who really push the limits of shooting guns and seeing what they're capable of doing. The coolest thing I thought about that match was they had I don't know if you call it a flipper, but it's a target that rotates and you have to get it to turn end over end.
Oh yeah, a spinner.
A spinner, there you go. But I was the only one in the group of guys who I went with who got it to turn over.
Yeah.
And I was pretty happy about that because I didn't even own a rifle and I was shooting somebody else's.
So that person that let you borrow their gun, they probably won't let you borrow the gun again.
No, Brian would.
I'm kidding. Most people are like, well, you can't outshoot me with my own gun. I got to take it back.
It's okay. There were 4 paper targets on the side of the hay bale that I was posted up on, and I left all of those unshot.
Forgot all those.
So.
Yeah. Solid. So yeah, okay, out of all the competitions now that you shot a bunch, like, is there one that you really like or one style or some type of stages that you really enjoy?
So I'm not shitting on Steel Challenge or anything, but it's just, there's no movement.
Yeah.
And if you give like a 12-year-old a 22 and let him go to town every day after school, the kid's gonna be fast.
Yeah.
So Steel Challenge, like, it has its place and it teaches you to draw and put your gun on target quickly. But after that, that's pretty much what it is. I'd have to say my favorite is one that has movement and different props. Because I'm not a skilled shooter. I'm like an athlete, so moving shit around, I'm good at.
Not fair. So, okay, tell people what you do or what you did in college.
Yeah, I mean, so I played volleyball for Florida State, and I coached the women's volleyball team at Florida State. Right now, I'm coaching at Leon High School. I've been there for 2017. I think this is my 5th year. We're a dominant volleyball team in the state of Florida. Probably dominant in the country, but we travel all over the place and kick girls' butts.
That's awesome. I used to coach softball, but at Lincoln.
Oh, stinking Lincoln.
I know. I was thinking like we're rivals.
Yeah. No, I mean, the sports in Tallahassee, I don't know what football's like, but the other sports in Tallahassee are surprisingly competitive for what I would call a small town.
I agree. I mean, even McCullough, they had a great stadium out there and stuff, and their team was really good and fun to watch. So yeah. Okay, so being on the coaching side of things, how hard was it to be on like the having to be coach side of things?
So I would say my friends more laughed at me than coached me. And I don't know if that's because they have never coached somebody at shooting or if they were just enjoying the sight and were happy to let it happen. But from the coaching side, I certainly try and understand like what's being described to me more than just trying to get a result, because the result is not always reflective of the process. And I know a lot of people like to say, trust the process, but you can get a result without a process.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, good feedback. You're making me think about some of that. So who else have you dragged out to competitions now?
So there's a couple guys that I work with, and there's a couple people that I play volleyball with who I've tried. I've only gotten one person to go, whether it's scheduling conflicts or being afraid of being bad at something, just whatever the circumstances is. I've only gotten one person to go, and it's actually, he went without me. So he went and did it on his own and learned, and I'm sad that I wasn't there to see his first impressions, because this guy, he loves to shoot and we do all kinds of silly stuff at the range, but I would have liked to see what his eyes lit up like seeing a USPSA match.
That is the best experience. Yeah. Okay. So we have a lot of people, I think you can see that already, that talk about like to you probably like, hey, Tal, I want to go shoot, or hey, I really want to learn this. Right. And so many people don't take us up on that. That's a bummer. That's on them. But say like that effort. So if we're telling 10 people about it, or 10 people are coming to us and we get one, like that's a game changer for the Second Amendment community. It really is, that one impact, right? So like having Brian and I bring out like 5 different people like at this match, I mean, that's a big deal. And it spirals.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like any kind of marketing scheme, and not calling the Second Amendment marketing scheme, just like when you expand your network and your network expands itself, you know, through what's the word I'm looking here for? Organic growth. It does expand exponentially. And there is a lot of value in that because it's certainly a freedom that I enjoy and something that is a great hobby for me to go to the range. And whether it's early on a Saturday morning or just being outside, like it combines the things that I like to do.
Oh, 100%. You said it beautifully. It's my mental health check for sure. So yeah, if
Absolutely.
you're listening, I think I like your idea of shooting competition once a year. If you're a newer shooter, you're past that. I'm past that for sure. But having a goal of bring a new shooter once a year, just one, right? Just one. But that impact can go a long way. Was that in Michigan?
No, that was here in Tallahassee.
Tallahassee, cool. Okay. And that's a good community, actually. That's a really fun one to start out, and you've got to get back out there.
Yeah, no, we're going to be there on October 2nd, I think, on Saturday morning.
That's awesome. Can't wait for that. Okay, for you, going back to new shooter Tyler, whatever. Maybe you were actually open arms to it, but was there a challenge for like Brian to get you to go and shoot a match or go with him? No. Yeah.
No. The one thing is I didn't have a rifle, and I was like, look, I got to borrow yours. And he was like, okay.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was thrilled. I mean, it was so cool. I thought shooting paper on a stick was fun. Come on.
Add a spinner and then add a plate rack and then oh, you haven't done a moving mover, have you? Okay. Or been in a vehicle? Have you been in a vehicle shooting yet?
So Michigan did a golf cart. Same
cool.
thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, so then maybe not you then, but what do you think is the biggest challenge, or you've probably already seen it, for us to get people into the shooting sports?
So I find that anything with an entry fee is always a natural, I don't know.
Barrier.
Yeah, absolutely. And not that shooting necessarily has big entry fees, but when you include the gear, then you start to rack up the entry barrier. So let's say and I don't know, maybe Glock matches, I think they're pretty inexpensive, $20, something like that.
Yep. They went up in price. They're 35.
Yeah. Well, just if you had a first time shooter, or if Practice Score had a way of saying this person has not shot a match before, that would be pretty neat to say, hey, we're going to waive your entry fee. Obviously, if it's a big match, maybe don't waive their entry fee, but
I like it. I know that Glock, when I see they have a sheet that says like first time shooters and who brought them or whatever, it's less than 10 people on that list. I know local clubs do a really, really, really good job. I think Talon even does it, and some others of junior shoot for free or new shooters shoot for free and all of that. But even major matches, like you're saying, how could we do a better job with maybe either waiving it or discounting it or something? Yeah.
Well, and then so on the same page, like the first time I shot Steel Challenge, I wasn't new to shooting, but I was absolutely new to Steel Challenge. And I had read the rule book, but a rule book only does so much in terms of putting an application to your eyes and everything. And I still didn't watch YouTube videos or anything like that. And when I got to the range, I said, hey, just so you guys know, 1, I've never been to this range before. 2, I've never shot Steel Challenge before. And I don't know anybody else here. So if you want to change my squad up and put me with somebody who knows what's going on, that'd be awesome. And they actually hooked me up with this older guy who I think he won the match that day. But he had invited me out to his house a couple of times, and we shot in his yard. And I mean, he had all kinds of cool stuff. So not only did they get me introduced to somebody who was familiar with the operation and the range, they got me involved with somebody who was, promoting the community, which was pretty neat.
Who was that?
His name is Terry something. I could find it. Give me one
That's
second.
Really neat. Good job, Terry, whoever you are.
Yeah, and come on. His name is Shooting Guy is his last name. So no clue what his actual name is. But the range is Oak Hill Range in Oak Hill, Michigan. And the guy who runs that range, his name is Alex Bakken. He runs USPSA and Steel Challenge over there. Nice guy. And actually, I think your friend Michael Shinneberry shoots there.
Yeah, he's such a nice person. Okay, that's so weird that we're all interconnected. It's not weird.
Yeah. Because I've squatted with Michael a couple times at that range.
Such a small world, dude. Such a small world. That's really cool.
Florida, Michigan, back to Florida. Random people who know each other.
Oh yeah. Richard, do you know Richard Blackman? Probably not. Tallahassee?
No.
Oh yeah. He called me the other day and he's like, I went to Jacksonville to work something else, like not shooting related. And then I met someone who was into shooting and I asked him if he knew you. And of course he knew me. I was like, yeah, it's my area director. But yeah.
That's crazy.
World. Yeah. Okay, let's go a bit more into the gear a little bit, because I know you've learned a lot about gear from a lot of people. You borrowed gear, you've asked me about gear. So how important is to be able to trust that your gear will work?
Oh man, I mean, that's the single most important thing. It's so frustrating. And I'm sure you've experienced this many times when you get to the range and something's wrong. And you don't find out about it until it's too late because it's broken or it breaks while you're using it.
Yeah.
Like I had a 2-gun match that I shot sidearm only because my rifle wasn't working. And I mean, it was fine. It wasn't ideal. It's not like I was keeping up with anybody,
Yeah.
but it was more fun to shoot with 1 gun than no guns. So I finished the day shooting.
That's a good attitude to have.
I mean, I would much rather play 50% than not play at all.
Ooh, boom. Coach Tyler. Love this. Drop in knowledge. Okay, so
but yeah, I mean, in terms of gear breaking on me, it's important to have good gear. And maybe I subscribe too much to Lucas over at T-Rex, but I'm a big fan of buying quality stuff and only buying it once instead of, replacing it if you buy crappy stuff.
You haven't met him, have you?
Not yet.
He shoots competitions. I know he shot Memorial 3-gun. He shot Fort Benning. And he's in Tennessee somewhere around here. He's got a range, but yeah.
Yeah, cool. No, he actually is surprisingly one of the people who messages you back.
Yep.
Like just the post that you reposted. I'm sure you got it from Dave Ramsey, not from me. But I had sent it to him and I was like, do you know Dave Ramsey? And he's like, yeah, I went and trained his team. Pretty cool guy.
He posted that video of them at the range, which is really neat. Yeah. So, and Lucas does a good job of innovation, like their company. He listens to his employees, and that's how the new dowel. Have you seen that? Yeah.
Yeah. The new sidecar.
New sidecar with the dowel in it. Yeah, it came to be. And I think that was super innovative. It's crazy how, I guess in a world where everything's already done, to me, I feel like, okay, everything's been created or everything's been innovated to its final. And then someone comes out with something new. I was like, oh, brilliant. Why didn't we think of that before?
Yeah, no, it is pretty neat. But luckily, I think, plates coming off of slides, crappy dots, first time I bought a red dot, somebody was like, oh yeah, you need to buy one that's $500. And I was like, my gun's not $500. So no, thanks. So bad plates, bad dots, not necessarily cheap ammo, because for the most part, the guns that I shoot work with anything you put in them. But bad holsters, bad belts, the wrong style of a belt, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So how did you vet out information on what to try or what to buy?
I'm pretty bad about research. I mostly trust people who I think are in the community, and I ask for their input, and I put a lot of weight in that, and then I find out if there is weight in it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for instance, I was looking for a holster for Kydex, and I asked you, and you said, this is the guy who makes my stuff. And I think his process and his products are solid, and I messaged him, and that's how I got one of my holsters.
I'm done. Yeah. There's a lot of people out there definitely putting out information. And like you said, when you follow, I think it's powerful, again, going back to T-Rex and stuff, I think it's powerful when you see companies actually showing videos and testing and running their gear in matches and stuff. You know what I mean? Nothing is gonna show you that it does or doesn't work. I don't know how to say this right, but at a match, everything comes out in a match.
Yeah, well, anybody can make a product video where they're in a perfect environment. There's no pressure, there's no sirens, no dogs barking, all the fun stuff. But you go to a match, once that timer beeps, it's real.
It's real. And I have not shot in very many good conditions.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Well, I wear cleats no matter what.
Yeah, I've had to buy cleats and I'm not very happy with it, but I've had to. So the other thing, I guess, do you ever look at people's credentials or backgrounds, with the people that you do ask? And I'm not just talking about me, other people.
No, not really. Because credentials and background, you could have all the credentials in the world and background, but if you're not out there doing it on a regular basis, or maybe if you haven't tested a product to the severity that it needs to be tested, it's kind of irrelevant. In the insurance industry, I'll use my professional background. We have industry designations, which are continuing education. Great. But have you seen how that scenario plays out in the real world? So.
Can you say that louder for the people in the back?
Yeah. I mean, you want to know how it plays out.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Gosh, I think that's really cool. Yeah, asking people for advice, but also knowing to like take it with a grain of salt unless you know that they are doing XYZ, or have they tested it, and ask them questions. I mean, like you can ask them, hey, have you run this and this, or have you used it for a year, 2 years? How often do you use it? Like there's a lot that go into that testing, I guess, and the people that promote the gear or sell the gear, whatever, that you really have to do a little bit more work.
Yeah. No, my favorite comparison for gear or really anything when you're asking for somebody's input is you always have to ask them why they like it. And for instance, I ask people about restaurants all the time because I always want good food. And they'll say, oh, Joe's Pizza is awesome. So I'm thinking I'm getting really good pizza, right? What if they're like, no, I go there for the pasta, dude? Like, tell me why you at least like something.
Do you want to be a dad one day?
I mean, it's high on the list.
Yeah, you are going to be a great dad. That was such a dad thing to say. Oh man, I can give you some good food places, by the way, at all times. Asking why for sure is helpful. So that's pretty cool. You've already actually mentioned one, but were you surprised when you asked people or reach out to people online when they actually responded to you?
I'm pretty bad about just using the social media or online as a resource. But yeah, I'm always shocked when people respond because if you look at the number of followers, you're like, okay, they probably have 1,000 questions coming in a day on a slow day. And so, yeah, when people respond, I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. The worst that you could do is ask somebody, and the worst that they could do is not respond. But I bet you 90% of us is going to take the time to respond. So.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan when I get a response or when I see something that I asked, retweeted or whatever the platform is.
Yeah. You're on Twitter.
I'm not, so.
Okay, you're such a boomer.
Yeah, no, that's probably more accurate from my lifestyle.
Boomer, yeah, no, I can see that. Oh man. Okay, so let's go back to practice score. Because that's a huge thing. I don't know why that is, but a huge barrier to entry and a challenge is finding events, right? So there's like so many different ways that you can find it. You're Googling it and you're getting really lucky. You know about practice score. And if you do not know about practice score, you're really relying on your range to tell you, someone to tell you, for you to just come across it. So goodness, I don't know if you know this or not about how I found FSU shooting teams. Did I tell you this before? And I don't know how Brian found it, but it was actually only a semester left of grad school. So I was close to your age where you had already graduated. And I Googled FSU Firearms. And I found this club and I was like, I didn't think FSU would be associated with firearms at all, right? Not many colleges do that. So then I reached out and there was a female president at the time, and she was like, yeah, come out to the range. And I didn't have a single gun. She handed me all of hers. We shot rifle, we shot pistol, 22s, all of it. And she's like, you need to try out for the team. I was like, oh, okay. And then that's where it all spiraled. So I bought a Browning Buckmark, got a Glock 17, and then, yeah, you know the history. But that was really cool. So without that Google search for me, I wouldn't be here. So what are some other places, or what are some things that you've seen where people can go find this information?
Well, I got to say practice score is probably the biggest one because so when I moved to Michigan, I ran into this exact thing, right? Like I didn't know anybody who either was shooting in Michigan. I didn't know of any ranges or anything like that. And I don't know how I stumbled across somebody that I was working with. Like I wasn't working directly with them, but they worked for the same company. And I had messaged them on our internal message board. And I was like, hey, are there any ranges or anything that you'd recommend? Because Google really does not support shooting.
Correct.
And so the guy who I had messaged with, he was like, oh yeah, man, I've shot every competition there is in the state of Michigan. He's like, there's a couple places near you, but if you want to shoot good stuff, like you're going to drive an hour pretty much any direction and you'll be in a good place, which an hour is not a bad drive.
Nothing, people, nothing. Can you say that louder too for somebody else?
Yeah. An hour is great.
Yeah.
That's an easy commute home or out in the morning, even if it's early.
And then you can listen to this podcast on the way.
Yeah. So that's a big thing. Although I will say in the state of Michigan, first competition I went to, there was a herd of deer right in front of me that almost ended my day. Yeah. I mean, they were like 6 inches from my windshield.
Dude, what?
Yeah. So got to be paying attention in the morning out there.
True.
But no, practice score is definitely the best place to look. And I think that when I don't see stuff on Practice Score, I assume it doesn't exist. And then some clubs don't upload stuff nearly as far in advance. And so you just got to recheck.
Yeah, I think Tallahassee was doing that. They're pretty bad. They're like 3 days before.
Yeah, because I had actually messaged you about it, and I was like, I swear, Talent.
You had messaged Talent that I managed, and you knew that. And I'm like, Tyler, why are you not contacting me directly? But here we go.
Yeah, no, because the match that I was shooting, or the 2 matches that I shot in Michigan, as soon as the monthly match would conclude, the next day they would post the next month's match. And so it's super easy to be on top of it. It's just as soon as the results are up, the next match is up.
Yeah.
And so Talon's calendar was saying that they had matches, and then there were no matches on Practice Score. So I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But no, Practice Score, or if you know somebody who shoots, they'll know the ins and outs of whatever community you're a part of, and that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, there's matchsignup.org, which if any match director out there uses that platform, don't. Like, we hate it as shooters. It's a horrible platform, but yeah, Practice Score is awesome. I want to say there's some other groups on Facebook though.
So like the places that I found in Michigan do all have groups.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a Google search will sometimes pull stuff up and give you direction of where to look.
Yeah.
But I think if you know somebody in the area who does what you want to do or are interested in, that's the best way to do it. Probably call a range and ask around.
Yep. There's ways to find it. So if you're using this excuse as I can't find one, oh, we'll find one for you. Shoot, message me here. And I bet, I know 20 people across the country that can tell you where to go.
Yeah. No, they're not that hard to find once you figure out how to look for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so they go to the competition. What should people now expect? So you didn't have any expectations. What expectations should someone have going to their first match?
Bring snacks. If you are a coffee drinker, bring extra coffee. Definitely bring water. It's usually a long day. I would say don't expect to start on time or to get out on time. And I'm not blasting people. This is just realistic.
Oh, I know.
It's like, be prepared to put a day towards whatever it is. If it's a one-day match, if it's a multi-day match, I don't know the situation there.
Okay.
Never done it.
Yeah. You're gone. Tell your spouse goodbye. Actually,
yeah, no.
Okay. For you, maybe this could be a tip from me to you. And this is huge. When you start dedicating those 5 weekends out of the whole entire year, right? And you go to the range and you have your cell phone on cell phone service and you're taking calls and you're looking at texts. What are you doing? You're not taking your cell phone. Yeah.
You cut out. I didn't hear what you
said. I was gonna say, the biggest thing for people is like disconnecting from your phone. So if you only get to shoot once or twice a year, put this on silent or don't even bring it, to the match itself. I think that's huge.
Yeah, no, not a problem. I actually almost never take my phone out of my bag. It stays in my bag.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of an Apple Watch, but my Apple Watch is broken. It got shattered not too long ago. So I'll see stuff like every now and then, but I'm not responding to it unless it's an emergency. And if it's an emergency, I'm getting calls back to back. So it's pretty easy to tell. Now, I'm a big fan of like, throw that thing in the bag, leave it in the car, whatever.
You got to get video though. You put on airplane mode.
So I actually don't have videos of myself.
I know. It's like horrible. I'm like, dude, you don't have any videos.
I have videos of my friends.
I think, okay. But how much have you looked at your old video from 2019 or whatever it was, and then realize where you're at now? Could you?
It's comical.
It's comical, but like you could see your growth.
Oh, absolutely. Just on a draw on what I'm actually looking at, or am I focused on my first target when the stage is going off versus am I looking at my hip?
Yeah. A lot of people make those mistakes. So simple stuff. For match stuff, going back to expectations before I go there, don't expect that it's going to go well.
No. No. Like I said, let's not get DQ'd and let's not come in last.
Caitlin's objective. Yeah, she did that too.
and I'm happy with both of those as my goals moving forward forever. I made some spreadsheets with Steel Challenge because it's so easy to track your performance. And that's, at least for the most part, that's draw, put it on target and shoot the gun a couple times. And you can easily track your improvements there and all that. But with USPSA, I guess there are, what do you call the stages where they're the same across everywhere?
Classifiers, yeah.
Classifiers, yeah. So you can track your progress on classifiers. But when the matches are just different every single time, you kind of see people you're competing with, or people who shoot the same equipment, that kind of thing.
Yeah, great. Tyler, take videos.
I'm okay. I don't need anybody to see. Then people are going to want to see it, and it's embarrassing.
It is not embarrassing. I still have embarrassing. When you fall with a gun and you recover well and it's not on video, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I do fall a lot because I try and run fast. It's pointless.
I want video. Take video. Ask people to take video. Put your phone on airplane mode.
Okay, we'll do it next time.
Yeah, one of the things that I see competitors do when they're new, well, actually a lot of them. All right, so if you've got an unloaded start or something where the gun's on the table and they're looking at the targets, right? And the thing goes beep, where do your eyes have to go? They already have to go back down to the table to find the gun. So just start there, because this is actually another like second, right? For you trying to find that. Same thing with like sometimes figuring out where your first target is. So if you're one of those people that like stages themselves and looks down and you know you're gonna have to look up and draw, why not just look to where that first target's gonna be? You know, simple stuff. I say
yeah. So yeah, but expectations wise, I guess just like set your expectations low. Just be safe. Think about what you're doing and have a good time, because the first time is not the time to win or even try to win. The first time is figure out what's going on, what the rules are, kind of how the scene works.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you push yourself too far, that's when accidents happen. So I think be safe is a really good thing to start with.
Well, and being safe, if you get disqualified the first time, or let's use your driver's test. If you don't get your driver's license the first time you go to take your test, you're probably not going to be super excited about the next time you have to go to the DMV or whatever. Yeah. So put yourself in a good place to enjoy it the next time too.
I think you need to write a Tyler Dad-isms book.
I don't know. I'm just about enjoying life and having a good time. And if you're too hard on yourself, you're not going to do it.
Yeah, no, I like your examples. What I'm trying to say. Well, like, whenever you're like this, and this is how this is, like, it clicks.
Yeah.
Good teacher. Yeah. Okay, so the biggest surprise to you, like, what was the biggest thing that you were maybe unprepared for the first match, or biggest surprise that you didn't expect?
I would say the biggest surprise is how fast people can shoot a gun. Like easily and the level of equipment and the cost that some people spend, but definitely just the speed that people can shoot with accuracy. And maybe it wasn't accuracy, maybe they were just flying lead, but it looked accurate.
Yeah, there you go. If you are a new shooter, go look at your targets. That's something I see is like they finish up the stage, they just don't know. Go walk around, look at your targets. If your RO is scoring your targets, ROs are human. So if they make a bad call, you'd be like, hey, can you look at that one more time? Or can you overlay that? That's for mostly USPSA stuff. But then if you're shooting left, high, low, hitting no shoots, like what are you doing? Snacks and sunscreen, water is something people always forget.
So I'm not big on sunscreen, but water and snacks must have.
You play volleyball outside.
Yeah, I wear long sleeves a lot.
I do too. Okay, that's fair.
And a hat and glasses. Like there's not a lot of skin showing other than right here.
Dad life. Dad life. What was your favorite part just about shooting competitions?
So it's gonna sound lame, but it's the people that I'm hanging out with.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's always a good time. I mean, it's a good group. You get people who have whatever trouble going on at home, or their kids are being crazy. It's just a good time to let go of whatever else is going on and be with your friends.
Absolutely. We need to shoot together again soon. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we gotta.
So let's talk about that, I guess, like range etiquette. So for you, can you explain some things that you've seen at the range, or some things that people should do better?
Oh boy. So I'll just give you one scary example that really made me never want to go back to the Apalachicola shooting forest.
Okay.
Or shooting range.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've been there before.
It's sketchy. The stop signs shot up before you even pull in.
Yeah, sketchy.
Yeah.
So it's like I've made it a rule that if I'm going there, it's before the sun is up so that I can shoot and leave before anybody else shows up. So I'm there like midday on Saturday, worst possible time. It's a beautiful day. And there's this dad who has his son there with him. Awesome. But he is dual wielding with his son standing in front of him, and he's shooting over his son's head. And I was like, I have to leave. And I left. I couldn't be a part of it. But like, you're laughing, but it's not funny, right? He could have killed his son in front of 20 other people, and he would have had to live with that. And just the lack of safety, and there's nobody out there monitoring anything. So it's a little sketchy.
No, okay. So if you shoot period across the board, it's going to be expensive, whatever your idea of expensive is, right? So for you, ammo's expensive. For me, I think some of the guns that I want are expensive because that's where I'm at the level, right? However, you really can't skimp on safety. When it comes to eyes, ear protection, I see some really crappy stuff out there, which is probably my biggest frustration. You only get 2 eyes and 2 ears if you even have that. But yeah, the level of people like, oh, I can't afford a $15 range fee. And I was like, okay, well, can you afford your $5,000 funeral and your kid growing up without a mom?
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. I'm a huge fan of sunglasses. I know you're a big fan of Hunter's Gold. I have my own little sunglass sponsorship going on too. So I wear, what's that?
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a real sponsorship. My dad's girlfriend owns a sunglass store, so they're free.
That's cool. That's cool.
But no, ears are important because when you think your ears are good and you go to take them off or whatever, it's horrible. Never recommend being around guns without good ears.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a good range, right? A good range. Talon, they'll give you the actual headsets with good decibel ratings. I am not a fan of the foamies, the little tiny orange things that just go in.
No.
They're not put in. I wrote a whole blog about this, so I won't go too far in depth, but you have to be squished. They need to go in the ear canal. They need to expand. You don't know does your 5-year-old or 10-year-old or whatever youngness, that they are, they can't tell if it's fitted right. Like adults can, kind of.
Sometimes. And
then when a kid pulls it out and they're playing with it, yeah, it's just not ideal. So, if you're going to shoot, invest in safety gear. It's huge.
Yeah. Big fan.
Huge. Know the 4 rules of firearm safety.
We go over them at every match, and you're always like, what is going on over there? Why are we not saying these as a group?
It should be like the Pledge of Allegiance and then the 4 rules of firearm safety.
Yeah. So just don't catch me on that pledge right now. It's been a few years since I've been in school.
Tyler, at the good matches that I go to, we always say that. That was really cool to bring that back. Gives me chills.
No, I'm a big fan too. It just, my memory's not always great,
No, yeah. No, we don't do it. Enough people don't do it anymore. Sports teams don't do it anymore. Yeah, it's just kind of depressing to think about. Okay, so going out to the range, as far as, have you been to a firing line range, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, talk about that, sort of like what to expect. What should you do? Range etiquette there.
Sure. So I don't know about etiquette as much as just like the level of rules that are in place. Because it was one of the free ranges that I could go to in the state of Michigan. They have, I think what they're called DNR ranges. I'm sure that stands for something. Do not resuscitate. But anyways, so you pull up, it's free. You just sign in, and they have a couple range officers. And basically it's like a line, and they have a bunch of, I guess, bench rests set up, and they've probably got 10 at 10 yards. Maybe 20 at 25 yards, maybe another 10 at 50 yards, and then another 20 at 100 yards. So pretty nice, clean facility. Sidewalks running all through it. But you can only shoot when they tell you you're allowed to shoot. You're not allowed to rapid fire. I mean, that's what their rules say.
Yeah.
Which means like 1 shot per 3 seconds.
Which
you can't,
that's a whole match. No.
You can't draw from a holster.
Yep.
What other fun rules do we have going on here?
Keep your brass. I don't know why. That's kind of rude, but.
So this one, you could pick up your brass. I mean, you could pick up anybody's brass at this one. I didn't see any like people out there stealing stuff, but they weren't strict about that or anything. But yeah, it was mostly just the fact that you couldn't go there with a plan other than shooting a piece of paper, like bullseye style.
Yeah. And like you all have to go cold, go down range, set up your targets. It takes
Yeah. So one, you have to be willing to take time. The only thing that I ever did there was sight in
Yeah.
firearm, because that was the only thing that you can realistically do.
100%. Yeah. So firing lines, I hate them. You're right, for all of the reasons. And that's similar to an indoor range. Maybe not necessarily rapid fire as much as I've seen, but yeah, like, okay, comparing the two then, indoor ranges at least have concrete between people. Outdoor ranges like that I've seen benches, like if you've got someone loading sideways.
Yeah, no, I've seen people get kicked out plenty of times, and I've also left once or twice from like, okay, the range officer's not doing their job, I'm out of here.
Yeah, they get paid $10 an hour. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. So yeah, that's hard. Okay, so now that you're at Talon, we'll go back to Talon. You get to rent a whole bay for the day. How should you leave a bay when you're done with it?
I mean, some of them are not great when you show up, but I would say you should leave it how it was when you got there, at the least. I leave stuff every now and then, like mags. So hopefully, hopefully people are picking that up and bring it to the office. That'd be cool. But no, I mean, you want to pick up all your trash. If you move targets around, you want to put it back to how it was. They have steel set up. So if you do move their steel, which you can't really move their steel.
Yeah.
But if you put up your own steel, like you're taking your stuff with you, if you're moving around their paper targets, you're putting stands back in place where they were. If you broke something like a stand, maybe at least let them know, hey, there's no 2x4s left over there to fix whatever. Just clean up after yourself. Be a decent human.
Yeah. Have you seen their posts today, Talons?
No.
Yeah, it's bad because they have cameras out there, but someone dug through the trash and put trash out on the ground, then shot trash on the ground. Like, okay, So yeah, first of all, ricochets happen. You shouldn't be shooting down. Like, you should be shooting level into a burn, preferably not sideways. Like, the side burns are not for shooting. But yeah, like, dude, I can't even get into that. Like, there was someone that screwed, like with an actual screw, into a 2x4 when it says like tape only, no staples, no screws. So like, what?
Dang. Kudos to the person who's bringing all their equipment out there so that they can do that. But come on, guys.
Yeah, I think someone was drilling in the wood to hang like a steel target, which is that's not a proper way to hang steel. That's not a thing. And like, you shouldn't be shooting at the stick anyway. So yeah, there's a lot there. What about like, I guess some important aspects, like, so what have you seen as far as like what a range does really well? And then what have you seen that like ranges do kind of poorly?
Yeah. So, I mean, like Talon, for example, they do a good job of knowing who's on the site, checking people in, knowing they don't ask you exactly what you're shooting, but they know what you brought out for the most part. And they have an idea of what's going on. They have cameras on every bay. The one thing that I think Talon does really, really well is they don't let people shoot on the 400-yard bay unless you have passed an exam. I mean, it's a practical exam. You have to put, I think it's 3 shots, 1 MOA at 100 yards.
So you say it nonchalant. I say it nonchalant, but that is very difficult for some people.
Oh, no. It took me several days to pass this freaking test.
Did you have your scope off or just really shitty ammo?
No, it was 4X. And it was 4 magnification on an AR with, whatever big box ammo I could get. And it took a while to figure out exactly where a dot was at that distance.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a huge thing that they do. And for many reasons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so for me being in the insurance industry, I'm thinking, that's the easiest way for them to minimize their risk of people shooting that kind of distance where there's a lot of variability in shot placement, right? So if you can't do it at 100 yards, you certainly can't do it at 400 yards.
Were you running a dot with, you said, a 4x magnifier, not a scope then?
Yeah.
You're such a Timmy.
Hey, you got to use what you got. That's what I got.
I won't make fun of you. I'll make fun of you because you're my friend, but I won't make fun of you for doing it.
Got to use what you got. No, it took me several days, probably 200 rounds to put 3 in that 1-inch circle.
It's hard. If you don't know your dopes, if you don't know your ammo, if you never chronoed your gun either, and like knowing your holds. I've never run a magnifier on a dot before. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's some serious work. You put an actual scope on there, it's really not that bad.
Yeah. It just depends on your ammo again, though. If you buy really crap ammo, it's really hard to group because it's inconsistent.
Yeah.
So,
but so you asked what are good things and what are bad things.
What are the, yeah.
So the bad things are having, I guess it's a good and a bad thing, but I'll say if there's no supervision there whatsoever, is generally not great. Now I've been on the good side of that where I'm the only person on the whole facility. Like there's nobody working there and it's literally just me. And so like weekday early in the morning when I'm the only person, I've got 10 pistol bays, I've got 10 rifle bays and skeet and trap all to myself. That's pretty nice because I don't have to worry about anybody else.
Yeah.
But when there are a lot of people using the facility with no oversight, then it's very sketchy.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone should be a range officer in some way, like when you're on the range, right? So I don't know if it's just me being on the range so often, or I think the FSU team scared the crap out of me, but I'm looking to see how people are gun handling, if they have eyes on, if they have ears on. I don't really care as much about your ears because that's on you. But like a ricochet to the face, insurance, it's going to be a lawsuit really quick. So that's a big thing. The other thing is just, cleaning up after yourself, but like having a good range is a game changer, and paying for a range is worth it, in my opinion.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I learned a little bit of something about the range that I was going to in Michigan. So they always set up their USPSA matches the day beforehand. And then there's actually nobody there. And so I would bring my own targets and shoot all the stages for free and reset everything and then dip out. And nobody ever knew I was there.
Now they do.
Hey, it was fun. I got to shoot stages for free and I reset everything. So
just can't. That's awesome, bud. That's awesome. Oh man. Yeah. I guess coming towards the end of this, is there any final thoughts or any final topics that you want to talk about?
I mean, probably my biggest thing would be if people are interested in doing it, just do it. Like give it a shot. Don't be scared of getting out there and figuring out you suck at shooting, because like chances are you probably suck.
Oh yeah.
No, that's my biggest thing. It's a lot of fun.
Pistol skills are perishable, like big time.
Yeah.
Have you picked yours up recently?
And they don't. I gun handle every day. But they don't come easy. You have to practice.
Yeah. Expect to suck. Shooting is a very humbling sport.
Yeah.
Very humbling sport. Have you ever tried to, like, this is not what you're supposed to do, right? But like, have you compared yourself to others, or try, like, were you really good about knowing that you don't do what they do? Does that make sense?
The most comparison I do is just with like my friends who I grew up with. And I'm like, no, I'm going to beat your ass today. Like it's going down. And then invariably, like they always beat me.
Of course, shit talking is part of it. I'm going to shit talk to no end. I'm still going to lose, but I'm going to shit talk the whole time.
Yeah. No, I guess like if I had a question for you, it would probably be along the lines of, is there a way that I can be more welcoming to women in the community?
I think you already do a good job. I think you do know your stuff. You know how to grip, you know how to draw, you know how to carry concealed, right? So for a lot of people, when I get approached, I'm never asked, hey, do you mind if I give you some advice? Not trying to, step in here. But that's a really good approach of like, do you want advice or do you mind? Like, but I could say, no, I'm good. Right. And I'm not normally that person. Normally I get, you don't want that gun. My old lady wants this, or you're not doing this right. I'm like, you don't know why I'm doing it that way, because I'm practicing for something, that I know that I'm gonna have to do. So yeah, being less condescending, asking if they want your advice, because there are some women that do not want it, and that's fine. But yeah, I think just listening and helping them out in a nice way, you do a really good job of that. There are men that are not approachable, are condescending. They don't come across as friendly. So keep doing that, Tyler.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm not one to give out shooting advice because I need it. But I can certainly be nice on the range. So that's all good.
Well, I think there's different tiers to that, right? So like, I'm not a pro. I learn from the pros. I teach the beginners, and you could teach the pre-beginners almost, you know what I mean? There is a place for something. So don't ever think of yourself as invaluable, because there's people out there that doesn't even know how to hold a gun. even
Yeah.
one-handed. Like you at least know how to pick it up, keep your finger off the trigger, right?
Most days.
That's 90% of people that don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome. You're sort of on social media-ish, but I know you love social media to death. But if people wanted to connect with you, come shoot at Talon or in Tallahassee or whatever, how can they find you online?
Yeah, so I'm probably most frequently on Instagram, and it's just my first initial followed by my last name. So T Denahan on Instagram, and then you can see my brothers on there. But no, you can message me, Facebook, Tyler Denahan. I think those are the only two that I'm on, but I check them. I don't post a lot of stuff, and I'll respond to people if they have questions or if they want to see silliness of me shooting guns.
I love it. I love it. So what's next for Tyler? What's your goals or your plans coming up?
So like I said, I don't know if we were recording or not when I said it, but you know what, we have my wedding party for my first anniversary coming up here in 2 weeks, and I've got my brothers and a couple guys. We're gonna go shoot at Talon on October 2nd, and I'm just hoping none of us get hurt because these guys are crazy.
Yeah.
But it'll be a good time. And then, you know, coaching volleyball. Hopefully we win a state championship again this year.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. And then bring a new person to the range and shoot 5 matches and Endless Summer Blast 2022 too.
Yeah, no, we could definitely put that on the calendar.
Good. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So Tyler, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing totally different perspective. I'm so glad that we connected and met and keep in touch. That's huge for me. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're a fantastic friend to have, and you keep people informed of what's going on. So we all appreciate you, Kenzie.
Thanks, I try. Well, Taco Club for life too. So
Yes.
yay, that was the coolest experience. If you have a taco, we're best friends. We're done.
I mean, it's instant, right?
It is. I feel like that's all I see with driving. Taco. Oh well. So anyways, thanks for listening, guys. If you didn't take anything away from this, shoot guns, learn something new, bring someone new, and drive a Tacoma.
There you go.
Till next time, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Reticle Up podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Follow along on social media at Reticle Up or 3 Gun Kenzie.